We are here for Beyond the Game. And in this episode, I'm going to be talking about some amazing things like me getting flamed in a Facebook group, a scam post about me, the top cards I was looking to buy this week that I failed on, and an amazing new card tactic that I think could be game changing. I think we will see. If you don't know who I am, hi, my name is Eric Michael. I've sold over $5 million in sports cards. And about 4 years ago, I started teaching people how to make an income buying and selling sports cards. It changed my life, and I'm on a mission to help it change as many people's lives as possible because I truly do think it is the easiest, simplest way to make a nice income on the side on top of your existing salary. But let's get into it. So this is the most interesting thing that happened to me this week. So I forgot that I can't post in Facebook groups anymore. So if you guys, so people in the sports card community, okay, let me give you guys like a little like backstory, okay? Not backstory, but like a little insight on sports cards. So people are very sensitive when it comes to sports cards. They're very sensitive about the hobby, the topic, or the hobby, just the topic in general, especially people in the community. It's like their love almost, right? Which is nothing wrong with that. It's great. That's what drives the hobby. And I don't know if you guys know this about me, but you probably do. A lot of people in the world of sports cards do not like me because here this kid is running around with all these ads and all this content saying you can make an income with sports cards. And for whatever reason, people in the world of sports cards just, number one, don't like people that like go off and it's very obvious they're flipping cards to make money. I don't know why. And then number two, just anyone, every time you go on Facebook, sees my ads and it just gets pushed in front of their face. So for those two reasons, I irritate a lot of people in the world of sports cards. But in terms of like major league profits and the business in general, it doesn't really affect the business because the people we help for the most part are people that are not in the world of sports cards yet. Okay. So like keep that in mind with what I'm about to say. A lot of people didn't like me to begin with before major league profits because I would flip a lot of cards at a very fast pace and it just kind of rubbed people the wrong way. And then here I am, all these ads, all this content promoting the idea you can make money with sports cards. So for those two reasons, people do not like me. Now, I forgot about this. I forgot about this for a second. So back in the day, before Major League Profits, I would go and post in Facebook groups like, hey, I'm looking to buy these cards or I'm looking to buy these cards, just like a normal person. And nothing would go with it. Now, today, I can't do that. If I post in any Facebook group, I get flamed. I get cooked. Just like, it doesn't even matter what I say. I can go in there and post like 2 plus 2 is 4. And just, I get cooked. It's crazy. And if you go back to the last podcast, someone gave me this amazing idea of shorting sports cards. Okay. And this was like one of the most incredible ideas I've ever actually seen someone comment. And I'll go to the iPad real quick to show you what I was talking about. So in the world of sports cards, and this is all going to make sense, it's all a little mini story here, but in the world of sports cards, I believe it's much easier to predict a player going down than up. Okay? Much easier. Because in the beginning of the season, for the most part, most players go down. Like if this was the beginning of the football season, I'd be shorting CJ Stroud and Bryce Young and Will Levis. And just to show you an example, like if we go to market movers right here and take like, I'll show you how crazy this is, right? If we take like a Stroud, Prism, excuse me, I'm still getting used to this iPad. Prism, PSA 10. All right, check this out. Oh boy. Oh, I think autocorrect's on. That's not good. PSA 10, right? So this is a CJ Stroud Prism PSA 10. And CJ Stroud's having a pretty solid year for the most part. I mean, he lost against my Jets yesterday. The Jets are back 3-6. We're going to make a run. Right, go here for a second, right? And if you see where my cursor's at, you'll see this card's about $88, $91 in the beginning of the season, right around here. And look, for no apparent reason, it just goes down in value because it's very hard for a player to maintain its value once the season starts because a lot of them are hype and inflated, and something that's inflated because basically the definition of inflation is artificially value going up. Because it's artificially increased, it's just very difficult for a player's value to maintain that. And even someone like CJ Stroud, you're looking at here, he's had a good year, right? What's the Texans' record? Like 6-3 or something? But just the value goes down back to regression of the mean, right? Regression to where it's supposed to be, right? Because before the season, right, the value being here like around $90, this value should have been a little bit lower. And then, he comes out and plays solid, not MVP level, and it goes down. Now, if he was playing MVP level football and just like insane, you'd see his value actually stay around the same. So it takes a lot for a player to go up in value. And take a look at another example. So like if CJ Stroud, who's having a good year, if his value went down 50%, you can only imagine someone like, I got to take this autocorrect off, someone like Will Levis, God forbid if you bought his cards, right? This is a silver prism PSA 10. And you can look in the past 180 days. I mean, just Jesus, this is terrible. So like look at before the season started, this card was worth about 250, give or take, maybe low 200s. And whip, look where we are now, about like $40, okay? And that's why investing in young players long-term is just extremely difficult, okay? They're unpredictable. Most don't live up to expectation. It's just how it goes. Now, this person gave me an amazing idea who commented. I forgot his name. Sorry if I forgot your name. But he said you could short sports cards by doing this. So let's take, for example, that card of CJ Stroud, right? Let's say I wanted to short his card and bet against the player's value going down. Well, let's say today's date is, let's say it's September 1st, right? And this card of CJ Stroud that I just showed you is worth about $90. This new iPad's good. I bought a new iPad because I like writing on it. So this card of CJ Stroud is worth about $90. So step number one, I say to someone, hey, let me borrow a few of this card of CJ Stroud, and I will return it to you in 3 months, and I will guarantee you 10% on top, right? So borrow Stroud card is step number one, right? I'm telling you guys this so you understand the full story I'm about to say. And then step number two would be me sell card right away for $90, right? That's about what it's worth. Step number three. Now, hopefully, this card drops in value. That's the hope. So card drops down to, right, where is it at today? About $60, right? Step number four would be buy back for the value. Buy back for $60, okay? And remember, when I borrowed this card up here, I guaranteed this person I'll return the card to him in, let's say, 3 months at a 10% profit, right? So step number 5, return card plus 10%, which would be around $9, right? So my profit, right? My profit is $90 minus the $60 I bought it back from, minus the $9 profit I had to guarantee him. So my profit is, what's that, $30, $21, right? Just about. This is how to short a sports card, okay? And I thought this is an amazing idea. So my dumbass, what I did is I went into one of the Facebook groups where I'm friends with everybody and everybody knows me. And I'm like, hey, I'm looking to try this new strategy. Is there anyone who's selling Victor Wembanyama cards? Or not selling, but just like holding them? Because if you're holding them, you might as well let me borrow them. I'm going to guarantee you 10% in the next 3 months. And I got cooked. They were like, I didn't look at the post for a few hours, I think, because I was busy. And just like a slew of comments, just like wise cracks, right? Like it was actually really funny. People were saying like, oh, why do you need to do this? Aren't you rich? Aren't you the man? Like, why do you need to take money from people? Like, I don't know, just all sorts of wise ass comments. And then I deleted it. And then there was like, I looked again like a day later and there was like 5 or 6 different posts making fun of me. So yeah, that was my week in sports cards. So yeah. I see your question, Stavros. You said, what is the point of a person to sell it raw instead of sending it to PSA and sell it after for bigger profit? So people sell sports cards raw all the time because, one, they don't want to bother with PSA. They don't want to ship stuff. And most people who have tried to grade cards have a bad experience because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to properly evaluate the condition of a card. And because of that, they're like, fuck this. This card's not going to grade a 10. And they just sell their cards raw. And most people in sports cards, you have to keep this in mind. Most people just do this for fun. They like to break open packs and boxes. They don't care about grading. A lot of people don't even know that grading is a lucrative thing, right? That's why sports cards, in my opinion, is just inherently a little bit easier to make a profit because it's just less competitive. So most people are just in this for fun, just breaking open boxes and cases, and you buy those cards from people, you flip them, you make money. It's kind of like good examples. Why do people sell homes undervalued when you can fix them up, put 30 grand into a home, fix it up, and gain $100,000 in value? People don't want to. People are lazy. It's just, I don't know. That's just how people work. And like, if you could take advantage of that by putting in more effort, and you can make some solid money. So hopefully that makes sense. But I see your question. On a side note, sports wise, did you guys see that World Series? The Yankees completely blew. As a Mets fan, I'm not even gonna lie, I had no money on the series, but as a Mets fan, that made me happy because that is something that would happen to the Mets. The Yankees, what was that? The fifth inning, they just got destroyed. However, someone who did show up in the World Series, even though he made a pretty brutal error, is Anthony Volpe, and let's see if he's an interesting buy. So, 2020, Bowman, Carl, Volpe. Let's see. This is his PSA 10, and wow, yeah, you could see it shot up. So this was like it went down a little bit, down a little bit, down a little bit, and then whoop up during the World Series, and it's probably gonna come back down. I think this could be an interesting buy if it gets back down around here, like $20-ish. Anthony Volpe cards. I think he gained a lot of people's respect. And now we're going to the offseason. The Yankees lost. People don't care about them as much. And I think the value will shoot back down right over here. And if you can get a card like this for like $20-$25, or buy other Anthony Volpe cards, like ones that are a little bit higher end, like this. I love going for the higher end cards. So something like this. The last sale did $199. Yeah, this card's just going down. My God. Look how much this card is worth. Jesus Christ. Look how much this card is worth in the beginning of the season. Whoop. That's why shorting sports cards is so easy. Or it would be so easy if I figured out a way to do it. And my coaches were telling me you should make an app where it's kind of like an exchange and people could like bet against their players going up or down. And that's just a whole different business that I'm not equipped to start. But it's a good idea. But yeah, if anyone figures out a better way to short sports cards, because getting people to borrow cards, find people to let you borrow cards is just not an easy thing to do. Also, I'd like to say, so this is a pretty bad look on my part. So I film these podcasts for the most part I do them on Mondays and I do them on Fridays. And last week, this is just terrible. This is just terrible on my part. But last week on my Friday podcast, usually when I make the podcast on Friday, it goes up later that day. However, my editing guy was sick and the podcast didn't go up till Monday. And on that podcast, I had a few picks like the Niners, the Jaguars, and someone else, and I went 3-0. However, that podcast didn't go up till Monday. So it looked like I filmed the podcast after I knew who won already. And it was just a bad look. But I did go 3-0 last week. And even though it's bad that it came out after the game started, but I'm here to redeem myself and redeem your guys' trust. So these are my top 3 picks this week. And the first one, I don't know if I could even say this out loud. So the Giants plus 3.5 home to the Commanders. I love it because after that crazy Commanders win on the Hail Mary, you're due for a letdown after that division game home. The Giants don't totally suck. I think it's a field goal game. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm hesitant on this one, but Packers plus 3.5 home to Detroit. I think the Packers will move the ball. Detroit outside of a dome, not the same team. Even though I think Detroit's going to make the Super Bowl, I think they're going to lose this one. And number 3, Bucks plus 8.5 at the Chiefs. I think the Bucks defense is solid. Baker Mayfield will move the ball. I think it's a touchdown game. I think it's just too many points. When the Chiefs will win. But I just simply think it's too many points. But those are my top 3 picks. The Giants, the Packers, and the Bucks. Hopefully, this podcast goes out in time. So something like last week doesn't happen again. That would be nice. And also onto some other stuff. Check this out. So this is pretty crazy. All right. Where are we here? I want to read this guy. I want to read this to you guys because this is interesting. So, someone commented, or not commented, made a Trustpilot review on Major League Profits. And this is what bothers me about the internet. I'm going to read this out loud to you guys, and I want you guys to comment. Let me know what you think. And I can truthfully say, we get a lot of success with Major League Profits. We get a lot. Like, sports cards is not a hard way to make money. They've actually done very well. I'm going to read this to you guys, and let me know what you think. You guys can go on Trustpilot and view this 1-star review. We'll probably get it removed soon because it's not true. But check this out. So, hold on. Before I do that, let me take a sip of water. All right. So, his whole program is trash. The idea is great, but people have been teaching themselves how to sell cards for years. There are different individuals, resources, and videos that provide the same information without the spam calls. Yes, we call you a lot because we have a sales team. He pitches his program by claiming that you will not be as successful doing it by yourself unless you buy or join his program. If you pay attention, his whole demeanor changes when he says to get the free training or just acquire the knowledge and run with it. This happens every time the topic of doing it by yourself arises. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Obviously, he is successful and has found a way to make money beyond selling cards. I also know firsthand because I tried joining his program. You have to go through numerous phone calls and Zoom meetings. Yes, we do that to vet you, to make sure we're not getting the wrong people in the program. Do not click the link if you don't want an overwhelming number of phone calls or emails. They also promise you that if you do X, Y, or Z, if you attend the Zoom, you get a PDF to your email, which you do. Is there real people that really make good money with him? Yes, I do believe so. But I also know that you can buy testimonial videos. Hell, you can even get a company to remove bad reviews. He is right. His program is for busy professionals or someone with no knowledge at all about sports or cards. If you're busy, you won't have time to learn. If you don't know sports or cards, he will teach you what he needs to so he can profit. Then comes independency. I do not like when someone is one way then starts to act another to gain people's trust. That's crappy. That's why I decided not to join the program. He sells quick resources, not knowledge. I would rather someone tell me up front I'm a shady asshole than at least I know and I can't be surprised. Like he says, seeing is believing. If you make it to the Zoom call with a coach, that's their part in trying to show you their resources and how they're doing God's work with all the money. They dangle the carrot. But honestly, if I get enough people to say the sky is purple and showing you over and over, eventually the sky is purple. To make this clear, before I get all the disciples coming after me, this is my opinion. Okay. So, someone left a nasty review that never joined our program. That's the first problem. And the second problem, multiple problems with this message. I want to dissect this because this is what I think is wrong with just people's mindset and just looking at money, okay? Let me explain something to you, right? Let me go to my iPad, okay? Let me tell you something. Not everything, but most of the things I teach could be found somewhere on the internet. It could be found on YouTube, Google, talking to someone in a Facebook group, right? But when you join a program, you pay for speed of knowledge. So if you're not someone that values your time, you should learn it yourself. Go and learn it yourself. It'll take years. However, if you're someone that values your time and just wants the answers right away, like someone like myself, like I value my time. That's the only thing you can't buy back in life. The only way to buy that back in life is by programs and mentorships and that stuff like that. Then you should, right? The program, you're paying for coaching, speed of answers, direct answers, and everything in a systematic way, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But let me paint this picture to you, right? So let me go to my iPad here and let me explain to you how coaching works. So now let's pretend sports cards is an opportunity that realistically is a solid way to make a few grand a month, right? Let's say $3,000 a month is your goal, or $3,000 a month. This is your goal, right? Good goal. Now, let's divide this page in 2 halves, right? We have one half where you pay for coaching, all right? That's this half. The other half, no coaching, all right? So let's play out the money scenario, right? Because we're all here because we want to make as much money as possible. That's usually how people work. So on the coaching side, let's say you have to buy a program. Let's say it's something really expensive. Let's say it's super expensive. Let's say you have to spend $10,000 on a program. Okay? Expensive. And on this side, you do not buy a program. Okay? Now, this is just opinion here, but I could speak from my own experience. I fell into this, okay? I did not buy a program because there were no coaching programs for sports cards when I got in 2015. It took me a few years to really hit the ground running and start making a few grand a month. It took me about 2 years, right? So it took me 24 months, roughly, to start making, let's call it 3,000 a month. I was making more than that, but let's be conservative. 3,000 a month, right? So it took me 24 months to start making that. That means month 0 through 24, for the most part, let me just draw this out. I was making $0. Okay? I was making $0 because I was learning. I would make money and then lose money. Make money and then lose money. Okay? Now, let's go over to the left-hand side. And now you are minus $10,000 in the hole. You just put $10,000 on a credit card. Oof, that's a lot of money. However, because you have a coach at your disposal and you have all the information in a systematic way, it's only going to take you, let's say, 2 months, right? 2 months to start making $3K a month. That's supposed to say $3K a month. Now, what does this mean? This means month 3 through month 23, this whole entire time, you're making $3,000 a month. So how many months is that? That's, what is that, roughly 20 months, right? So 20 times 3,000 equals 60,000. Okay? So let's look at this scenario. If you invest, this is like just a general example, but I'm just showing you why the power of coaching and investing into yourself is important. I'm not just saying this so you buy my freaking program. I'm talking about real estate, fucking learning magic, like whatever. Like this is the way business, like as a business owner, you should think if you're someone that wants to make money. So what does this mean? Well, by month number 24, in this scenario, you have made 60,000 minus the 10K you invested, so you are up 50K. Okay? So this is this scenario right here. All right? Oh, whoops. Yep. And in this scenario, month number 24, you have made $0. You tell me which one you think is better. Now, the difference is people struggle investing money up front. But in this scenario, on the left-hand side scenario here, it is less stressful because you're just getting answers right away. I could tell you the right-hand side scenario, which is the scenario I went through, is stressful. You have to put in way more time to make no money. I made no money for the first year or 2 or 3 years. I forget, honestly, exactly. But this is just a general example. And the crazy thing, right? Let's dissect this even more, right? This is the crazy thing, right? So, like, let's say a program. Oh, that's supposed to say program. All right, is $10,000. What's college? Let's say college is, on average, $60,000. Well, guess what? People opt for this. They're like, oh my God, let me go out of my way, apply and beg and plead to go to college. But guess what? Let me break down college. And this is why this whole situation is fucked up. Like, this is why I can't rationalize with a lot of people, right? College is 4 years. And each year is 2 semesters. And each semester, 5 that is not how to spell classes. 5 classes per semester. What does that mean? Well, that means you are taking 40 classes total. And I can't speak for you, but I can speak for myself. Out of these 40 classes I took, I would say 38 were bullshit. Okay? Now, you just spent, right, 4 years partying and messing around and wasting time to mostly take classes that probably didn't help you. I took how to take classes like Dance and Istanbul and all these environmental which is nothing wrong with those classes, but for me as a business major, wasn't going to help me. I could speak from experience. Like, I own a decently large-ish business now, and I went to a prestigious business school. None of these classes helped me own a business. None. But why do colleges do this? Well, they make you take 40 classes when you could probably get away with taking 10 or 8 because they want to suck as much money out of you as possible, right? So imagine for a second, I said to you, hey, go and give me $10,000, but I'm going to waste most of your time for the next 4 years, and you might get out of college, or you might get out of my education program with a job making 40 to 50K a year. Like, the average is like 50. Would you do that? When I say it like that, it's like, oh shit, maybe that's not the best deal in the world. But everybody does this. And going back up to this scenario right here, right? Like, what's crazy is, like, this coaching scenario, whether it's real estate or sports cards, you're actually learning an applicable skill. As college, you're not really learning an applicable skill. They're like sending you this way and that way and this way and that way, and it's fugazi. That's why I can't rationalize with people. And I'm not just saying this so you buy my fucking program, right? Like, I'm talking about in general. Like, whether you want to get into affiliate marketing or drop shipping or sports cards or real estate, like, this situation right here is making you much more money, much less time. Isn't that everybody's goal? You want to make more money with less time. But people cannot rationalize with spending money up front, because guess what most people do? They're like, hey, aunt, uncle, wife, friend, you think I should do this? You think I should buy a program? Nah, you can learn that shit on YouTube. Okay, yeah, you could, but then you're going to do this. You can learn it on YouTube, but then it's going to take you years to learn it because all the information's scattered and you don't know who to believe. You don't know who not to believe. So for that situation, like, that is why investing in yourself and learning skills is important. And then once you learn these skills on the left-hand side, you control your own income. You don't have to be worried about getting fired by a boss or whoever, right? That's my rant for the day. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's cool. Some other stuff. So someone was asking me about okay, this is a good one. How do you find the time on a daily basis to buy and sell sports cards? Like, what's my time management hack? That's what someone asked me, okay? Let me give it to you. It's actually very straightforward, okay? Time management. Here you go. This is it. You take every single waking second you spend on social media and instead apply it towards something productive. Let me give you a little quick story on myself. So when I was 17 or 18 years old, I had the only girlfriend I ever had. And Snapchat was getting big. And she was like, hey, you should make a Snapchat. And she made me a Snapchat. And I remember I was in my bed. It was like 11 p.m. before high school. Like, it was on a Tuesday or Wednesday or something. And I was looking at people's stories, right? Just like anybody else. And I remember thinking to myself, like, damn, everyone seems like they're having such a good time. And this just makes me feel like shit about myself. I'm never going to look at another story again. So from that moment on, I never looked at another story again. I always said, I'm going to take all the time people spend on social media and apply it towards something productive. So the average human, or the average person in America, average person this is a startling statistic, and I believe it's actually higher, spends 2 hours a day on social media. And most of the stuff on social media is a waste of time, right? Looking at hot chicks or funny videos, which is great to laugh, but go to a comedy show. If you take this 2 hours every single day and you apply it towards mindset, reading books or learning a skill, real estate, sports cards, I bet you my ass you will be successful. If you consistently spend 2 hours a day doing something, whether you buy a program or not, eventually you're gonna suck, but eventually you're not gonna suck anymore. Once you don't suck, you're good. Once you're good, you start making money. And this is what I did. I still do it. Like, I take all the time people spend on social media and I apply it towards something productive. It sounds simple, but it's not that simple, because social media is built to be addictive, because the way social media makes money is by people like me who spend a lot of money on ads. And Facebook and Instagram, they make more money the more time you spend on their platform, because that they can show you more ads, which makes them more money. So every single thing on social media, between the comments, the likes, the way you swipe, the colors, is built to be addictive. And because it's built to be addictive, it's hard to get off. That's why you feel like sometimes you're swiping for like an hour, 2 hours, and you're like, fuck, I can't believe I just wasted 2 hours. But if you just stop yourself, right? I know it's so easy to just click the app, right? Just click the Facebook app or click the Instagram app. But if you just stop yourself and you're like what I used to do is, okay, wait, nope, not going to do that. I'm going to go over to eBay and start buying and selling sports cards. That is a huge time management hack. Listen, everyone's got the fucking time. I don't want to hear you don't have the time. If I looked at your phone and looked at your screen time, I bet my ass it would say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, okay? Take all that time, apply it towards something productive. That's my answer. And I'll leave you guys off with this. So I had some other things to talk about, but this is going way longer than I thought. So this is my new sports card strategy that I'm trying out, and you guys might see ads for this in the near future, so watch out. So, as a business owner and someone that teaches people how to make money with sports cards, I consistently ask myself, how can I get people to give me more money, but I make them more money? So it's a win-win, okay? As a business, like, fundamental rule of business, you want your customers to spend as much money as possible with you over and over again, okay? Like, Amazon does an amazing job of this, because if a customer is giving you money again for another program or another something, well, then you don't have to spend money in ads, okay? So I ask myself this all the time: how can I get people to make more money and give me more money? So it's a win-win. I'm going to try this out here in the next month. So check this out. So you guys obviously see a lot of our ads, and I would actually go so far to say that I am much better at digital marketing now, because I spend much more time doing it than then buying and selling sports cards. I would actually say, like, the coaches who teach the students are better at buying and selling sports cards than I am at this point. However, I said, how can I combine these two? So I'm going to test this out. I'm going to test out. I did this one time before for like a few days, and it kind of worked, kind of didn't, but now I'll be much better at it. I'm going to run Facebook ads to buy cards. Okay, so check this out. Facebook card ad strategy. Hopefully this makes sense. All right. So this is the way it's going to work, right? You're going to see, and I want you guys' opinion on this as to what you think. So you're going to see an image, right? An image ad. This is an image, okay? Image. And it's going to say, hey, I'm looking to buy cards from the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, because cards from the 70s and 80s are usually junk. So this image is then going to lead to a form. This is a form. And people are going to be able to fill out this form. And on this form, it's going to ask questions like, your name, your number, your email, what types of cards you have. And if they have cards from the 80s and 90s and 70s, we're going to disqualify the form. However, if this form checks out to be good, right? Check, it's good, and it seems like they have cards from the 40s or the 50s or the 60s, then I'm going to then send a text message to myself, right? An automated SMS and email alerting me that this person who filled out this form has potentially good cards. And then I'm going to reach out with a phone call and try to do a deal with this person. And I think this is going to be golden for cards that are, like vintage, because like vintage, so like Facebook ads can be kind of expensive, but vintage cards you can make like fuck you money. Like if you buy vintage cards, the grade, like it's not just you're not just like making 50% on your money. Like you're making really good money if you do it right. And on Facebook, so like I don't know if you guys know this, but on Facebook, right? Facebook ads, you can target older people that are 65 plus. So you're putting your ad in front of older people to give you a better chance of them having older cards. And what I'm going to do is once I reach out, right, because you don't know who you're dealing with, you could potentially be a scam. I'm going to pay through PayPal goods and services. So if God forbid I get scammed, I get my money back. But the reason why this is an amazing strategy, just imagine if this whole entire thing, this whole entire devious strategy I have is going to work out. You are literally, because Facebook ads runs on autopilot. It just runs, right? You don't need to like have it keep running. It just runs on autopilot. You wake up every single morning with new leads or people just messaging you and filling out this form. Just, hey, I have these cards. So you wake up every morning, you have 4, 5, 6 people reaching out to you for them to sell you their vintage cards. That's the hope. We'll see what happens. We'll see if this works. But I am super excited to try this, combining my skills of digital marketing and sales combined with sports cards. I think this can work very well. And if it does, I'll keep you guys updated. I'll give you guys the cheat code and the strategy as to how I do it. But yeah, I think this is an untapped market. No one's running ads to buy cards, or at least I haven't seen any. I could be wrong. But yeah, I think this is a potentially a game changer, and this can make myself and students and you guys watching this a lot of money. I mean, this is a little bit more complex, like setting up Facebook ads and stuff, but I think this could be really good. Yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts and what you guys think. But that is all the time I got for today. There were some other things I wanted to talk about. I just simply don't have the time, unfortunately. But if you enjoyed this podcast, I'll put a link to another video somewhere around here. That'd be a nice follow-up to what I talked about here today, a training or another podcast that I think makes sense. But if you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment. I try to reply to all my comments in the following podcast. So I always try to answer all the questions, the ones that make sense as much as possible, because sometimes you guys ask questions and I have no idea what you guys are trying to say. So try to put it in the best English as possible. But if you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.